Well, happy Friday to all of you out there, and we have a lot of stuff on the table. And this is the end result of when you spend a weekend at BourbonCon. Hello, everyone. My name is Wayne.
And I'm Rebecca.
And we are your Bourbon Journey.
Well, as Wayne said, we had a great time at BourbonCon this year. It was our first time to attend. It was January 16th to 17th in Lexington, Kentucky. It was held at the Marriott Lexington Griffin Hotel, which was fantastic. One of the things we loved about it was that it was all-inclusive.
Yes.
So we got there, we parked, and we were pretty much set for the weekend. I thought that was fantastic. I thought it was a great price. It was $999 for two, and that included a 2-day platinum package. With a 2-day platinum package, we got a few things above and beyond the normal ticket package, which included being able to get into the Griffin Vault where the bottles were a little bit earlier than other people on the first day. We were able to go into a speakeasy where they had special pours on the hour. So every hour they were pouring different things, 10 hours a day. It was crazy. And then the best part I thought was it included your hotel price, and it also included 2 breakfast buffets, 2 lunch buffets, and kind of a casual bites situation on Friday night. So 5 meals. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was a heck of a deal, and we enjoyed it so much that we're going to be going back next year.
Definitely. And we learned about it from our friends, Michael and Don, Chasing Neat. They went last year and did a video about it, and we're like, well, we're putting that on the calendar for next year. So we did, and we enjoyed it immensely. So we're going to talk a little bit about the event and also talk about what's on the table here and why we have it here on the table. But I will say some of the things that they do there that are pretty cool is that they have sessions going on. And I like the education part. I think that this was all part of it. You would just leave the tasting room and go to one if you wanted to. And there were distillers doing sessions, there were mixologists and even chefs, but we just had so much fun. We attended one with Jackson Purchase, which is run by Craig Beam. Yes, he's one of the Beam family, and he's actually Parker Beam's son. So that was really interesting hearing his story and how experienced he is, and now he has his own distillery. That was pretty cool.
His transition from working at Heaven Hill, I believe it was, and going to Jackson's Purchase. The next place we went was to Angel's Envy, so my wife could hear her boyfriend, Owen Martin.
He's not my boyfriend.
He's the one that came up to her for her 65th birthday and gave her a special bottle that was signed by him, said happy birthday, and I think it has his phone number on it.
It didn't have his phone number, but he's a very nice guy.
He is a very nice guy.
But we got to taste some things that they've released this year, and we got to hear him talk about things that are coming in the future, which I thought was very exciting. And then, probably one of my favorite things, if you watch us and know that on Thursdays I do cocktails, I'm a home bartender. Not really, I'm just someone that throws cocktails together. But it was really great. Gabe Briseno, he was fantastic. He got up there and he actually pulled a couple people out of the audience to learn how to make cocktails with him. He made 3 different cocktails like that. So it was great to get some lessons from him, hear things and approaches that he believes are the most important things to do. And I picked up a couple tricks of the trade and actually tried it in last week's video. So that was pretty fun. And you liked it too, didn't you?
I did.
And we all got to sample stuff too. So they were bringing the samples around us of each of the cocktails. So that was a plus.
So after that, we ended up attending Dark Arts, so we could go ahead and hear Sara Ahlgrim talk about their different spirits and do a kind of a blind, asking us questions about the different bourbons. She was outstanding. I don't know if you had an opportunity to hear her speak before or go down to Dark Arts. She's fantastic. Gentlemen, she's easy on the eyes and very sweet, very nice person.
Yeah, they had 4 secret expressions. She called them veiled, and she did have little velvet packages over them so we couldn't see them. And then everybody was rating which one they liked, and you'll see on the table here the one that I liked the most and ended up purchasing later. That was really fun. And then we went to the 4 Branches presentation with Rick Franco, and they're part of Lofted Spirits. They are doing their distilling out of Bardstown Bourbon Company right now, and he told a great story about coming up with the brand, that they're friends that all served in 4 different branches of the armed services, and that they're doing this together. That's why they named it 4 Branches. And my favorite part of the story is how Steve Nally came in and they were trying all these different mash bills. And he says, wait a minute, you have 4 branches, you need 4 grains. And gosh, you don't have wheat in there. We got to put some wheat in there. So that's kind of how that happened.
So my son's a Marine, and the gentleman up there was speaking about the Marine Corps. So I raised my hand and asked him the question. I told him my son's a Marine, and I said, so the 4 greens that are in there, which one do you think represents the Marine Corps? And he said, well, he believed that the rye was the one that represented the Marine Corps. And I said, yeah, that sounds like my son, kind of spicy and off-putting at times and all that. But it was a fantastic talk, and we spoke to them afterward, and they signed a bottle for my son that I'll be sending out to him in the near future.
Yeah, it was just fantastic. We could have gone to more, but some of them were going on simultaneously, so you had to pick, darn. And then sometimes you wanted to be in the tasting hall because there were about 40 distillers there.
Yes.
And what I really enjoyed about walking through the tasting hall, and it was open all day, so you could come and go, is that they really featured more small craft distillers, those that were just getting started. They had Angel's Envy there, and they also had Evan Williams and Peerless. Most people know Peerless, but they still are the craft levels at their production. But we had a lot of familiar folks there. McBrayer Legacy Spirits were there, and matter of fact, they sold out while they were there. They had a great show.
They did a fantastic job.
Other friends there like Starlight Distilling.
Yep.
And Old Louisville Whiskey Company was there. So we loved getting to know a bunch of new craft distillers and what they're doing. And to be honest, that's what we purchased. We purchased things that we had not tasted before. So our strategy for day one, while we were walking around, meeting all these different folks, was to gravitate toward people we, first of all, had never heard of, and then people maybe we've heard of, but we've not tasted something of theirs before. So that's all we did on Friday. Matter of fact, we saw friends that have places that we've been to. We said, we're not tasting today. We'll be back tomorrow. And we did. Saturday, we visited some of our friends and people we know to see what they had new coming and things like that.
The only thing I'll say is on the first day, I did violate it one time because I did taste my family stuff and chat with them for a couple minutes. And that's really a part of what we're going to be displaying today. These are all the purchases we made that weekend.
We're going to start out talking about our other favorite thing there was the hallway. I know it sounds funny, but they had vendors in the hallway, and I was negligent in not getting pictures of all the different displays. They had one that was great. I think we forgot to bring it in here to show, but I'll take pictures and share it. But the first table we came up to was a guy saying he's doing bourbon cards, like baseball cards with historic bourbons on them. And you've already opened your pack, right?
I did. I cannot remember. They're in the other room. I think one is Barrel House, if I remember correctly. One thing I mentioned to them, I asked them about McBrayer, and they said they actually had to pull it because they had made an error on it historically. And of course, Bill would be able to point that out because if it comes to McBrayer, he knows it. So they were going to go back and correct that and then redo it. I think it's a really cool and fantastic idea.
Yeah, so that was one, and we didn't purchase anything that day from them, but we kept their card, and we're going to keep an eye on them. They're really just getting started, and they're doing some really neat things. And then the next one we went to was called Sailor Smoke Rubs and Marinades, and I love cooking with different spices. I was focused on the spices, and I kept coming by and smelling, and she would let you taste them as a family-run operation. Even their kids are involved with helping with everything. And I was just really excited about them. They had a special that you could get 10 spices for $55. These are my spices here. And I have a better picture I can show you. You can see what they are. But 3 of them are bourbon themed, which is pretty cool. And the others are just different things like a spice from Havana and adobo. So I feel like I got a lot of international flair here, as well as some of my favorite things for bourbon and Italy and stuff like that. So I'm going to be able to do some fun cooking. And I was kind of waiting for this video to get over so I could start opening them up. Very excited about that. And then one lady had like jewelry and hats and different things like that, clothing items. Of course, there were people selling barrels that had been specialized. I think I saw candles at one place. And then something else that I purchased on the end here, I'll show a picture, but it's called Toasted Simple. And he specializes in all toasted ingredients for simple syrup. Now, again, I'm going back to my cocktail things here. I'm like, wow, toasted ingredients. I tried several, but the problem with pre-made simple syrups is once you open them, they have to go in the refrigerator. So I can't have 20 different flavors at one time. But I tried one that I just had to get, and that was the pineapple jalapeno. Fantastic. Not overly sweet, has a light burn on the end. I imagine making bourbon-based margaritas with that in the summer. I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm excited about that. Similarly, right next door to them, I also stopped in there several times with Bluegrass Bitters. And they had this basic simple syrup that's kind of like a Demerara-based simple syrup, but it's really smoky. And if you watched any of my videos on cocktails, I love doing smoked cocktails. And I was imagining, oh my goodness, if I had that in a smoked cocktail, it'd be amazing. I got their little 3-pack, which was 2 of the simple syrups. And then they had this really interesting bitter called a 5-spice orange bitter. And that was tasty, wasn't it?
It was very good.
So those were my non-liquor purchases, and I'm very excited about them and can't wait to be using them.
And there were a couple other booths. There was a gentleman who had paintings. He had painted different bourbon sceneries and some sports sceneries. And SLB, Basement Bourbon Bar, the only Drams, Trent was there representing them. And I guess that's a program where you can load all the bourbon that you buy, and quite frankly,
do you have time to scan barcodes?
They were there representing that and selling the program, which I've heard some really fantastic things about. So the products that they were offering, there weren't a lot, but they were really good. There wasn't anything walking by, it's just junky. And that sometimes happens at these events. Cheers to those at BourbonCon. There definitely was a quality to everybody that was there. And it was very nice. It was change pace.
So let's talk about the bottles we got.
Okay.
I think we got 9 bottles. I think Wayne's going to start out talking. He can just pick a couple to share and why we maybe picked it.
Well, I'm going to go ahead. I'll go up to the front here. And this is Burnt Tavern. Now, this is actually the very first bottle that we tried. Mm-hmm. When we walked in, we made a left and we found this booth and we're like, okay, we don't know you guys. So Rebecca actually ended up interviewing one of the owners.
Asked him to tell the story and I just recorded it. So it was more him talking.
Yeah, we listened to everything and tried it and we really liked it. And we decided to make the purchase. So this was our very first scalp, was Burnt Tavern.
And I did do a little research and they are distilling out of Bardstown.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And what about the next one?
Well, let's see. Who do we have here? Jackson Purchase. Okay, this is Craig Beam's bottle. Of course, we sat in his session and he talked about his life from basically coming out of the womb to currently getting the job. We tried theirs as well. It was a really good price point. I can't remember off the top of my head. I want to say it was 65 maybe or 70, something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But we decided to pull the trigger, and this is one we're going to be reviewing in the near future.
And it's the founders, and it's also their batch 1. So we didn't want to wait on it because we only have 1 shot at a batch 1. I'll share this one here. This is called Trackside Distilling Company. And it was interesting because it has pictures of horse racing on it, right? So I thought it was about the track. Well, they told the story that it's really about how important tracks are in the world. Like there's race tracks, there's for cars, and there's railroad tracks, and then horse tracks. And so they went with that on there because they're big fans of horse racing. But I will say that Jade Peterson, who's been very involved with Artisan Distillery, is their distiller. Okay. That's pretty interesting too. That's one of the reasons I really wanted this. We've enjoyed things that he's done at Kentucky Artisan. So I just wanted to make sure we got this and we got a signed bottle. So that was pretty exciting. We can't wait to review it. Probably over the next month, February, we're going to start reviewing all of these bottles.
So we'll go to this one here. Pick it up, take a look.
Oh,
Peter Hart.
The rye.
Okay, the Kentucky Rye Whiskey. Normally, when we come up to a distillery, we have no idea about. Usually, if we buy anything, it's going to be something that's cost effective. Well,
and typically a bourbon.
Well, in this case, these guys ended up having a really crazy rye. I believe it's from a toasted barrel. And
it's actually a rye that's been finished in a smoked used bourbon barrel.
Okay.
So it's actually smoked, not toasted, but it was actually smoked like a smoker would be smoked, right? Mm-hmm. So it has these smoky notes, and I imagine putting that with that simple syrup, oh my goodness, that's going to be an amazing cocktail.
We're not big rye drinkers on the channel, but we really like this, and we decided this would be a really good representation. It is Peter E. Hart.
Peter E. Hart whiskey.
So I will put that back over here. Let me grab the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the Four Branches Bourbon. Now, this was the other conference that we sat in, and the gentleman who was representing the Marine Corps, what had been a Marine, he had offered this. We went over and tried it. Ended up buying 2 bottles of it, one for my son and one for us. They signed it. He signed it, Rick, USMC. Unfortunately, we always ended up hitting our thumbs on the signature.
Well, that happened because he just had a shoulder surgery. And he handed me the bottle to hold it because he couldn't hold the bottle. And when he handed it, I just grabbed the bottle and I smeared it. It was my fault.
It's not a big deal. And once again, this is another one we will be reviewing in the near future. We tried it. We liked it. Thought it was pretty good. And they're out of Bardstown as well,
Yep.
which was the story. So Rebecca, you want to go to yours?
Yeah, this is another one here. And this one we technically did not get at BourbonCon, but we were chatting with the folks at Barrel House. We'd been to Barrel House before. I enjoyed them a lot. We love their rock castle. It's fantastic. But he was telling us that if you see a black label, it's probably a store pick. And this is a Kroger store pick. He was saying how amazing it was, and he kind of reached under the table and gave us a pour of it. It wasn't supposed to be out, but his partner there goes, "Oh, you're pouring the special one." He's like, "Yeah, they might go get some." And we were talking about going to Kroger, but we had the dinner thing that night, and we were like, "When are we going to go over there? Maybe we'll go after." And then our friends, Michael and Don from Chasing Neat, they're like, "Oh," we're like, "Where are you?" And they're like, "Oh, we're on our way to Kroger." So they had talked to him after we did, and they were going to Kroger. And I said, "If you're getting Barrel House, we want one." And they came back with 3 bottles.
Yeah, Michael, I guess he sent you a text and basically said that they had bought the last 3 bottles of this stuff that was available in the state of Kentucky.
Yep, and so we got one, they got one, and I think they bought the other one for someone else. It was like $75, a great for a Barrel House Select, a store pick. It's fantastic. So while we didn't buy it at BourbonCon, we wouldn't have known about it without going to BourbonCon. And the Kroger was literally like 0.2 of a mile away from the hotel.
So I'll go to the next bottle. Now, this one is maybe of all of them, this is the funniest story. There's a lot to this bottle. This is General Thomas Kentucky Bourbon. Now, the gimmick with this bottle, and I can read the back of it, it says, after purchase, scan the label's QR code to hear stories from General Thomas. He can also deliver a custom message if this is a gift. So you can go on this webpage, and the guy showed us, you can go on there and you can type in what you want this guy to say to your friend or whomever, and then it'll create a video of it, in an old style. It's hilarious.
What a cool idea. And it tasted good too. We didn't buy it just for the gimmick. We bought it because it tasted good. And we just thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was really interesting, bringing AI into it and how you can use technology to customize a bottle. We've done a lot of bottles that are etched and things like that, but wow.
So now I will deliver my last bottle. And this is a little bit of a sentimental one here. This is Robert's Reserve, and this is out of Pike, Kentucky. Pike, Kentucky is where my family is from in Kentucky. That's the relation to the McBrayer family. I'm from the Pike wing. Their history is that's where the Hatfield McCoys feuded. And I guess
it's way southeast Kentucky.
Yeah, and I guess the McBrayers did the smart thing and they hid. So they didn't get shot. But anyway, we saw this and tried it. I really liked it. And I think it was one of the better prices. I believe it was $45.
I think that's about right. It's a 4-grain, and we thought it was quite good. We had a long chat with them, and we are going to make the pilgrimage to Pike so that we can visit them. And there's a couple other things on the way that we can do as well. I've already worked on the spreadsheets for anyone we met on this trip to get them on the calendar for 2026. So we're pretty excited about that. So then the last one, then, we are familiar with Dark Arts. This was one of the blind bottles that Sara sampled for us in the session we attended. And it's the one I picked was my favorite. It was really hard because all 4 of them were really good. But this is the one that's finished in Armagnac casks. And it's just amazing. But it was $221, just saying. But we will be reviewing that officially because I can't wait to open it up and have another taste of it. She signed it for us as well. And
back.
Yeah. And plus it has a purple label. We didn't have a purple label from them. So now we do. So that's our purchases from it. And it was pretty fun.
It was. We ended up on Saturday night having a bottle share that we were invited to. We ended up drinking with Amin, who brought some stuff from old Louisville. Some people that were from Bourbonano that we had met in person for the first time.
Plus quite a few folks that are part of the Pursuit Spirits group too. They were there too. It was we were there to 1:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah. Pouring and spilling beer and everything.
Laughing, having a good time. But we would definitely go back. We packed up. They had the last breakfast on Sunday morning, which was pretty nice. You don't have to worry about what you're going to eat before you get on the road. I thought that was great. And then we hit the road, but we had planned to make one more stop, and we're only bringing it up because you're probably wondering what we've been sipping on. You probably know we're big Glen's Creek Distillery fans, and Glen's Creek doesn't ship, but you can buy online and they'll save it in the vault. And we thought we had maybe 6 bottles to pick up. So we said, let's stop in there. It's on our way. We just took a little jaunt off of the I-64 on our way home, and we can go there and pick up bottles. Ends up, it was 9 bottles. I didn't realize we had that many. So it was 2 boxes to carry out. But in there was this one, which is the Crimson Crow. And it's made with heirloom red corn. This is our first taste of it. It's all I can do not to give tasting notes, but we're looking forward to reviewing that one. Probably not till March because we got to get through these in February 1st. It was just great to stop by and talk with Dave, and Tom was there as well, so we chatted. And they may have brought out some things for us to sample to see what we thought about them, and that was really fun. And then we had to head home though. But we stayed there about 2 hours, which was pretty much a great time. I want to say we helped Dave with his tasting thing he was doing. We walked in, he was in the middle of a tasting for 10 people.
He told us to sit in the back and be quiet. You know,
I can't be quiet.
You know, and so, of course, everybody turns around, and we happened to be both wearing Glens Creek stuff coming in. They ended up buying a ton of stuff.
They did, because you go there, you love it. So that was how we wrapped up BourbonCon for us. Driving home from Lexington was stopped in Frankfurt and stopped at Glens Creek Distilling. Anything else?
I was just going to say, I made a couple of little purchases there. I bought some of their coffee and some of their extremely hot sauce and paid cash for it. And I left a $5 tip for Dave. And if you know Dave, he'd be the type, you don't tip me. But I left it anyway. So I'm sure I'll hear about that from him in the near future. So anyway, we really encourage you next year when it comes up to go to BourbonCon, because the thing I will say that was my favorite part was the fact of the hotel being a part of it. Our hotel room was really nice. The view, even though it was snowy, we had a view of their golf course. Mm-hmm. It was really fantastic. And to be able to go to one place, not have to drive, not have to come back, not be in the heat, not be in this.
Not worry about drinking and driving. There's
not
none of
worry
that
about
going
drinking and driving. People were very friendly. The staff was very friendly. And the lady that checked us into the hotel, his name was Macarena.
Yeah, she was super nice.
Yeah.
She said pretty much the whole staff was on till midnight because they were going to make sure we were all in and taken care of.
Yeah.
The staff was fantastic for sure. And I would go to BourbonCon.com or look it up on Google, see what the actual address is. Because if you've not done it before, there's a place you can sign up and be emailed when they're ready for registration for next year. So I would recommend doing that if this has intrigued you whatsoever. It would give you a heads up when it's coming.
Yes, and like I said, we loved it. So I'd like to raise my glass and give a big cheers out to everybody that worked at BourbonCon, from the people that checked us in to the CEO of the company that came out. If you like what we do, hit the subscribe button and always remember to drink responsibly. Today, a big cheers for BourbonCon. Look forward to you in 2027. Cannot wait. Cheers.
Cheers.